Ay, magandang umaga mga Whiskey Pops. Kumusta na kayo? As usual, nandito ako sa bahay. At bago ang lahat, bibigyan ko muna kayo ng good news for today. Okay? In Isaiah 43, verse 25 to 44, verse 21 to 23, I have swept away your offenses like a cloud, your sins like the morning mist. Isaiah 14 verse 22. What things from you past do you have trouble forgetting? Ask God to help you take him at his word. Lord, sweep away my old sins, erasing my past for a new life in you. Help me to understand the reality of your forgiveness and live it joyfully. Yun po mga Whiskey Pops ang ating good news for today. Musta na kayo? Dito kami sa bahay at meron kaming bagong i-assemble na model. Ito si Labio. Ito si Commander. Siya ngayon ang nag-assemble ng ating model. Yung Tamiya. Tamiya, ano ba ito klase type?
Ay, sorry po.
Ito.
Nalaglag.
Mga Whiskey Pops, ito yung bago nating model for today, no? Yung type 1 self-propelled gun and Kurogane 4x4 staff car, yung staff car nila. So this is a self-propelled gun with a 75mm barrel, and this tank was used in 1944 in the Philippines. So possibly this has been around during the liberation of Manila in February to March 1945. So ito ginamit siguro ito. Tingnan mo, may nakaupo official official ng Japanese Imperial Army. Yan, mukhang Hapon Kaya yun, siya yun nandyan. So bali nasa beginning stages pa lang si Ma'am Lara sa pag-assemble ng ating 1:35 Japanese tank type 1. So kaya samahan natin siya at tingnan natin kung anong ginagawa niya. Oscar Kilo yan Oscar Kilo yung na-assemble mo.
Oo, gumagawa ko ng sprocket. Nasa sprocket pala ako.
Ayun, nasa sprocket pa lang daw siya. Ito yung sprocket, yan Yan. So, bali dalawang vehicle yan Isang self-propelled gun. Tsaka isang 4x4 staff car, So, ayun, makikita niyo mga Whiskey Pops. This is made by Tamiya in 135 scale model.
Sprocket pa lang po, mga ka-Whiskey Pops.
Oh, maliit Ayun, nasa sprocket pa lang daw siya. Medyo mahirap-hirap din. Pero, kayang-kaya mo na yan. Dahil alam kong biyasa ka na dyan.
Hindi naman.
Ako nung araw, talagang builder din ako ng model. Kaya lang, since na yung aking mata ay lumalabo na, so kahit na may salamin, hirap na ako Kaya mas mabuti na nandito si Commander at siya nang gagawa ng assembly. She does the assembly while I do the painting. Oscar Kilo, mga whiskey pops. Yun. So, itong tangke na ito, this self-propelled gun was used by the Japanese Imperial forces or the Japanese Imperial Army to wreak havoc and violence in Manila. Kasi naalala ko, by the way, I was born. I was not born during the war, World War II. I was born 10 years after World War II ended. So, from that you can guess my age. Ayun. Anyway, di ko na sabihin, ulaan nyo na lang. Yung events na ikwento ko sa inyo tungkol dito were those that were told to me by my father when he was still alive. Hindi nyo itatanong, yung father ko was a soldier who went through the death march dun sa Kapas Tarlac. He went to all types of torture and cruelties from the Japanese. So, hirap naman yun eh. Kaya nakakaawa din ang father ko noon. Although stricto siya sa amin, pero yung mga kwento niya nung gera, grabe, hindi mo masisikmura. And he was first called to active duty on December 8, 1941, one day after the bombing of Pearl Harbor by the Japanese. Inobilize sila ni then General Lim. Minobilize sila. They were called to Los Baños. Doon tinawag ang father ko. So yun, nagpaalam siya doon sa lolo ko noon. Tapos doon din niya nalaman na yung assignment niya kung saan. He was assigned to Bataan. He was assigned to Bataan in the first artillery siya, sabi niya eh. First artillery battery yata siya. He was a staff sergeant that time. He was a non-commissioned officer in the USAF. He was allied with the USAF, the United States Armed Forces in the Far East. Pero he served with the Philippine Army. So yun, pinadala siya sa Bataan. While in Bataan, umatak na yung mga Japanese forces and they overwhelmed the American forces, Filipino and American forces in Bataan and Corregidor. So, bale, months after that, I could not remember anong month yung sinabi niya sa akin eh. They were ordered by General Wainwright, the commander in Bataan, to surrender to the Japanese. It was Charles W. Wainwright yata. He was a major general then. Major General ng United States Armed Forces. Si General Wainwright, siya ang commander. He was he was next to the Supreme Commander of all Allied Forces in the Far East. Ang Supreme Commander noon was General Douglas MacArthur. Sabi sa kanila ni Wainwright, sumuko na and surrender all their equipment. Surrender all they were not ordered to surrender the equipment, but instead, they were told to destroy all military equipment they had. So, yung mga artillery nila, mga 75mm batteries nila, mga artillery were thrown down the cliffs. Doon sa mga gilid-gilid ng mga bangin, may mga bangin doon sa Bataan. Hinulog doon nila yung mga kanyon nila roon. Yan ang pa sabi sa akin ng father ko. Nilaglag nila yung mga gamit nila, mga radio equipment, shortwave, and everything, communication equipment, all their guns and their artillery, nilaglag nila sa bangin para hindi mapakinabangan ng mga Hapon. Yun. Kasi the Japanese were advancing at that time. Na-overcome na sila eh. O yun. And after that, after they surrendered, Manila was declared an open city in 1942 or 43. Tapos yung father ko, together with his comrades dun sa Bataan, were led to Kapas, Tarlac in the infamous Death March. Kasama ang father ko doon sa Death March. Grabe doon. Pag nag-attempt ka tumakas doon sa it was a 200-kilometer walk from Angeles, Pampanga, San Fernando, Pampanga to Kapas, Tarlac.
Layo.
Lakad lang yun. Pero along the way, sabi ng father ko, may train daw train. Pinasakay sila ng car train box. Pero malapit lang. Siguro ang 1 town away lang. Tapos baba na naman sila, by foot na naman sila. Hindi sila binibigyan ng ng pagkain ng hapon. Tapos, pag nag-attempt ka mag-escape from the line, babarilin ka ng mga hapon. So that was the grim reality of it all. Kaya kawawa talaga tayo mga Pilipino, mga whiskey pop, under the hands of the Japanese Kimpeitai or the Japanese Army. Yun. Tapos pagdating nila sa sa Kapas, Tarlac, mga pagod na sila, exhausted na sila. More than half yung namatay. Punta pa lang doon. So, at least they were 50,000 yata nung ilakad nila. Pagdating nila sa Kapas, Tarlac, there were more than 25,000 na nga natitira. Yung iba, namatay na sa gutom, sa pagod, sa sakit. Yung iba, binaril ng mga Hapon. Ganun ka grabe ang horror ng araw, mga whiskey pops. Tapos pagdating nila doon, pinuntahan nila yung Camp O'Donnell. Doon sa Camp O'Donnell, they were led to a barracks, yung ang Camp O'Donnell na barracks. Tapos doon daw sa kwento ng father ko, sabi niya, pagpasok daw nila doon sa barracks na yun, sa itaas ng barracks, sa second floor, sa baba sila, ground floor, may tumutulo daw ano pala yung tumutulo pala, galing sa mga pasyente ron sa taas, mga dysentery, sari-sari sakit, mga dysentery, cholera, sari-sari, mga sakit, tumutulo doon. So,
Grabe,
grabe doon. At they were required by the Japanese. May kabady siya, papa ko Sabi nila, araw-araw daw, naglilibing sila ng mga 3 bangkay na kasamahan nila. Sa labas lang ng barracks, sa lupa. Bawa, ito yung barracks dito. Just outside, may kaparason lupa. Naglilibing sila doon everyday, mga 3 bodies. Everyday ng mga comrade nila. Tapos, pagdating ng tag-ulan, malakas ang ulan, naglalabasan yung mga maggots doon sa lupa. Yun ang reality nung araw nung time na yun. So,
Parang ano, parang bangungot.
oo, grabe yung mga puno araw eh. Very cruel. Hindi nga nagpapakain. Bale, pagkain nila, ano lang eh. Once a day lang sila kung magbigay ng pagkain. Tapos, inhuman pa yung treatment sa kanila.
Tapos iutos pa nila na...
Tinotorture pa nila mga Pilipino.
Tapos iutos pa nila na patayin na.
Oo. Ganun sila, mga whiskey pop. Kaya I could not, since bata pa ako noon, kung kinikwento ng tatay ko, nakikita ko sa mukha niya yung galit eh, habang kinikwento niya sa akin. Galit, tsaka yung umiiyak siya eh. Yung kinikwento niya sa akin, muluha mata niya eh. Di, parang nababakas ko sa mukha niya na yung hirap at sakit na dinadanasan ng kapwa natin mga Pilipino noong araw. So, yun. Yung iba mga kasama ng father ko, nag-form sila ng guerrilla. So, tumakas sila doon sa kampo with the help of the other Filipinos na doon. Tumakas sila at yung mga villagers doon. Dahil probinsya yun. Yung mga tao ron, pag may Pilipino, pinapatuloy nila, pinapakain nila. Yung iba may tama, pinapakain din nila lahat. Yun. So, yun, that was the history of my father at the hands of the Japanese during the Bataan Death March. Kaya nung dumating si MacArthur, when MacArthur came to liberate the Philippines, nagland sila sa Leyte, in the famous Leyte landings. Nakita niya si General Wainwright, nagulat siya. Dahil si General Wainwright, iniwanan niya medyo healthy pa eh. Nung bumalik niya si General Douglas MacArthur, nakita niya si General Wainwright, sa kanya niya iniwan yung yung pamamahala na ng commander ng Philippines, because MacArthur was the supreme commander of all allied forces in the Far East. Iniwan niya si General Wainwright at si General King to handle Bataan and other portions of Luzon. Pumunta siya sa Australia on board a submarine. Pagbalik niya, nakita niya si Wainwright, butot balat na.
Oh, ano nangyari?
Mabuti nga, nabuhay pa siya eh.
Ano nangyari?
Tinorture din pala ng Hapon.
Grabe, no?
Oo, Major General yun ang American Forces. Tinorture na Hapon, galit na galit ang mga Hapon sa Amerikano noong araw. Pati ako nagigigil nun eh, kaya lang, siyempre bata pa ako nun. Yung anger ko towards the others, the Japanese side, was not so great as my father. Was really very angry. So, yun na nangyari noon. Itong Battle of Manila, sabi ng father ko, dumating na siya sa Manila kasi through the efforts of my grandmother, si Jacinta Belsa Santos Cuyugan, kaibigan niya si General Lim noon yung time na yon. Yun ang nag-asikaso ng release papers ng father ko sa Kapas, Tarlac. O yun. Sayang natago ko, pero hindi ko na malaman kung nasaan saan ko na itago yung papel na yung release paper ng father ko. Papakita ko sana dito ngayon, pero anyway, nakalimutan ko na eh. Yun. So after having said that, nakalaya ng father ko at nakabalik na sa bahay niya dyan sa Pasay. So yun mga whiskey pop, it was only a brief history of the war in the Philippines. Ganun ang gera dito noong araw. Ito daw Metro Manila was totally devastated. Ano raw ito eh. Parang impyerno raw ito Manila noon.
Kawawa yung mga tao dito dati.
Oo, wasak-wasak ang mga bahay dito noon. Grabe. Hindi ka na makakagalaw dito noon. Tapos may order pa sa Japanese na kasi nung when after the bombing of Hiroshima in Japan and Nagasaki of the first and second atomic bombs to be dropped in history, inutos ng ni General Yamashita sa lahat ng troops ng Japanese na holding prisoners of war diyan sa Intramuros, diyan sa Rizal Memorial Coliseum, diyan sa Fort Santiago, diyan sa UST. Sabi niya, patayin niyo na lahat ng Pilipino. That was the order sent to all commanding officers of the Japanese Imperial Army.
Patayin talaga.
Patayin na lahat ng Pilipino. So nagkagulo talaga. Ngayon, ang mga guerrilla, they had to rumess back sila eh. Kasi nung nalaman nila ganun na order, siyempre they tried to save yung mga ibang natitirang mga buhay pang Pilipino na nakatrap ngayon doon sa kanilang mga barracks. Yun, kaya yun, grabe yung labanan nun. Yun yung liberation of Manila. The Battle of Manila, which began in March. Ito ngayong buwan na to. March 1945. That was the Battle of Manila. Kaya maganda ang kinalabasan dahil with the efforts of our comrades, the United States Army, under the Supreme Commander Douglas MacArthur, Supreme Commander of all Allied Forces in the Far East, at saka with our leader here, President Manuel L. Quezon, na naka-recover na tayo uli. Na-regroup uli yung mga forces natin dito to drive the Japanese out of their hiding places. Kaya yun. Happy dito. Yun nga sa Top Avenue eh. Diyan sa Top Avenue, sabi ng father ko. Nung dumaan sila doon, may pillbox na hapon daw dyan sa may top corner, Top Avenue, malapit sa Leogardo Street or doon sa may, basta malapit sa Buildíng yun. Sabi niya merong pillbox na hapon na merong machine gun nest doon sa ibabaw. Lahat ng dumadaan, binabaril niya. Sunod-sunod ang putok.
May bala talaga.
Oo.
Pinapatay niya talaga?
Patay, oo.
Grabe.
I-strafe daw eh. I-strafe. Kakaroon ng strafing. Lahat ng civilian to na gumagalaw, pinabanatan nila.
Grabe.
Nakita ng Amerikano, yung GI, kasi may mga GIs na dumating na ron eh. So they called reinforcement. Tuwag sila ng mga backup na troops para paligiran yung pillbox na yun. So fortunately, dumating yung Sherman tank. Ito yung mga whiskey-pops, so ito yung Sherman. Ayan o. Yun. Yun. Ano, yan.
Yung nakasakay sa ano?
Yung nakasakay sa tank transporter. Yung M4A3 Sherman tank. Dumating yan doon. Tuwan-tuwa raw yung Pilipino. Pagdating doon. Dahil walang tigil ng putok. Nasa 50 caliber machine gun yung ano eh.
Taas mo yung pan.
50 caliber yung machine gun na naka-tripod doon sa ibabaw. Putok ng putok. Tapos dumating daw yung Sherman tank. ah, yun, di-radio nila yung mga coordinates. As itinuro ng mga kasama nila kung nasaan nakapwesto yung pillbox. Yun, isang putok lang. Sabog.
Awal yun.
Oo. Wasak yung pillbox, mga whiskey pops. Oo, matatapang din ang mga kababayan natin noong araw. And they helped a lot
Aba, pagka buhay mo na yung
during the Japanese occupation. Yan nung liberation na 1945 na peacetime na o tawagin. Nung sumurrender na ang Hapon sa Tokyo Bay sa on board the USS Missouri battleship. Doon sumuko ang Hapon eh. O sa battleship USS Missouri, andun si MacArthur tsaka lahat ng mga dignitaries from other nations. Bale, ginawa ni General MacArthur as part of the surrender of the Japanese High Command. He rewrote the Constitution of Japan. Binago niya, isinulat niya uli at ginawa. So yun, medyo naputo lang konti yung camera natin kasi I had to change batteries. So as I was saying, nire-write ni General Douglas MacArthur yung the Constitution of Japan. Binago niya. Japan will never be again a superpower. Yan ang ginawa ni MacArthur. Never again will Japan rise to become a superpower and invade other countries and to exercise aggression in other countries. So yun, tuwan-tuwa mga Pilipino noon. Dito naman sa Pilipinas noon, during sumusuko ang yung mga Hapon sa may mga iba pa mga remnants na mga Japanese strongholds dito sa Manila eh. So yun, as I was saying mga whiskey pops, si General Douglas MacArthur, he revised or he rewrote the Constitution of Japan in 1945. Kaya kita mo mga Japan ngayon, sa Japan, ayon doon sa aking mga kaibigan na nasa Japan, ang mga Japanese now, they are not allowed to possess firearms. Hindi sila allowed under the democratic Japanese law to acquire firearms. So yun, that is one of the salient points which was co-authored by General Douglas MacArthur when he rewrote the Constitution of Japan. Kita mo yung mga nila rito, yung mga self-propelled gun nila, yung mga tanks nila are named for self-defense. Japan self-defense force. Its main use is for defense of their country or defense of their sovereignty and not to attack other countries or its neighboring countries. Katulad nung nangyari sa Hawaii sa Pearl Harbor noong December 7, 1941 when World War II was started. Yun, nag-declare siya noon eh. When then US President Franklin Delano Roosevelt declared war against Japan on December 7, 1941. Yun mga Bixie Pops. So, yun lang. I hope na marami na tayo napagkwentuhan. Ito, nagpipinta nga ako ito. Si Japan. yung Battle of Manila was the largest battle in World War II history. Yung Battle of Manila, it was the bloodiest battle in World War II history. Kasi daming namatay na Pilipino ron tsaka mga Amerikano. Plenty died because of atrocities from the Japanese Imperial Army. So, yun. I hope hindi na mangyayari yan. Kasi pag nangyari pa ulit ang isang world war, it will mean the annihilation of the world as we know it. Annihilation of mankind na yun. Kasi pag nagkaroon tayo ng World War III, nuclear na yan. Thermonuclear war na yan, mga whiskey pops. Hindi na baril na ng mga arma na siyang 45, what have you. Ano na yan, pinag-uusapan na doon, puro mga ICBM missiles, which North Korea is now making. Yung mga ICBM, long-range missiles, intercontinental ballistic missiles, carrying multiple warheads. Yun. Huwag na natin umabot, huwag na sana umabot to sa ganyan. Kasi kawawa tayo. Ayun, mga whiskey pops. I hope I gave you another piece of World War II history. I shared with you another piece of World War II history by telling you facts about the war, which was told to me by my father many years ago when he was a soldier in the Philippine Army, who fought side by side with the American forces. So dito patapos na itong Japan to eh. Ito yung ano niya, yung self-propelled gun niya, which is a 75mm barrel. Ito pareho ng Sherman to eh, yung Sherman tank. Ayun,
Parang magkahawig sila ng ano eh. Na itong isang ginamit din dito sa Pilipinas. Ano, ito.
yung Priest, yung M7 Priest. Pero iba ito eh. Kasi I'm sure ginamit ito sa Battle of Manila. Kasi doon sa history na basa ko, this self-propelled gun was used in the Philippines in 1944. So if it was used in 1944, that means the war was closing to an end, kasi 1945 nag-end ang gera eh. August 1945 to be exact, after the dropping of the first atomic bombs on the cities of Nagasaki and Hiroshima. Yun.
Tingnan mo yung mga ano niya, mga wheels niya. Ito hindi to nakadikit, open lang talaga. Tingnan mo yung mga wheels niya. Saka ito yung ano niya.
Open nga yung turret niya, hindi ano siya, non-movable.
Yung mga wheels niya, gumagalaw yan.
Non-movable, oo nga, maganda.
Gumagalaw yung wheels niya, hindi ko. Oo. Kahit ano na rin.
Maganda talaga ang Tamiya. Tamiya pala. Hindi Tamiya. Iba kasi pag nag-pronounce Tamiya eh. Narinig ko sa ibang nag-video.
Pagulong.
Oo, galing. Galing mo, Labi. Dahil na-align mo maigi yung mga road wheels. Tsaka yung idler wheel dyan, tsaka yung sprocket. Oscar Kilo. So, I'd like to thank you guys as always for subscribing to my channel and supporting my channel too. Kung hindi nyo pa kilala tong channel to, This is Whiskey Pops. Tsaka yung aking cameraman, yung aking better half doon, si Ma'am si Lara. Pag-subscribe nyo na rin si Ma'am si Lara. Kasi siya ang katuwang ko lagi rin sa mga model. Sa model building, lahat ng scale. From 135, 172, up to 116. And now this Titanic monster, massive scale, 1:200. Yun. Pag-subscribe na lang, Ma'am si Lara. Yun. Para Oscar Kilo. So, thank you. Pag-subscribe na lang. Andyan sa baba, oh. Tingnan nyo sa... di ba hawak nyo yung cellphone nyo? Pili mo dyan sa babang yan, oh. Yan. Bumaba. May mababasa mo, subscribe. Yun. Pag nabasa mo yung word subscribe, click mo lang yun. Pag click mo yun, may lalabas na bell. Pag click mo ng bell, may word doon, all, tsaka personalized. Yung all ang pindutin mo, all, para Oscar Kilo. Para lahat ng videos ko, mapapanood ninyo. Okay? So, thank you very much. Good night na wala. Bye-bye.